All right, what's going on, everybody? A very happy Wednesday across PTL Nation. Thank you so much for joining us. Boy, do we have a lot of breaking news. It seems like everything seems to break right as I'm about to go on the air, so we have a lot to talk about today. And before I introduce my co-host for the day, I just want to give you guys the big news that is out, which is the Strait of Hormuz is closed and the White House is lying to the American people. By all reports, including Iran, everywhere that have been confirmed, the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Caroline Leavitt just lied to the American people, but it gets worse than that. Because now we're learning that Iran got everything they wanted. And the ceasefire has been broken. Israel has broken the ceasefire. Iran has broken the ceasefire. Everything has fallen to pieces within hours. And it is unraveling in real time as these new strikes have hit Iran, and Iran has retaliated across the region. Israel has escalated attacks in Lebanon, and disputes over the deal's terms are deepening. Violations of the ceasefire have been reported across the world. And now Iran is demanding $1 per barrel of oil. It is insane what is going on right now. And in this Iran's 10-point plan, details are referencing in the statement of the Supreme National Security Council that they have received everything and anything that they have asked for, while Donald Trump and the White House is trying to save face. And guess what? It ain't working. And do you remember 10 months ago when Donald Trump said that we have peace in the Middle East? And then Israel broke a ceasefire and Hamas broke a ceasefire. This is exactly what has happened here. The ceasefire has crumbled within hours, maybe even minutes from what we're learning. While Caroline Leavitt and the White House are lying and saying that the Strait of Hormuz is open and everything is back to normal. But this is a win for the United States. And Iran, they're the people that have crumbled. It's the opposite of what took place. And the Strait of Hormuz, again, is closed, with both sides breaking the ceasefire agreement, and Donald Trump gloating, calling himself the great negotiator. Joining me to talk about this and much, much more, and we have plenty of audio to play for you, of course, is my co-host as he joins us every Wednesday. And by the way, he will be filling in for me perhaps a little bit more down the road. I haven't even asked him about that, but I'm going to need to be taking some more time off traveling all across the country. Leonard Cardinal joining us in studio. Leonard, what's going on, man?
Brian, crazy day out there. Last night was crazy. And let me just say before we move on that I called it. I told my family and friends because they asked me that Trump was not going to do anything to Iran. So I called it.
So you're right. And it's amazing to me that how Donald Trump is trying to call this some sort of victory where it couldn't be anything but the truth when it comes to what really took place.
Can I just ask you one question?
Yeah.
Because here's the whole thing right here. Who controls the Strait of Hormuz? All you
right
have to do
Iran.
Is ask that question.
Iran has all the power.
Who closed
right
it?
Yeah.
Who opened it? That's all you have to ask.
And during this, you're right. And during the 2-week ceasefire, which, by the way, has been broken. I think that's very important to know.
Well, there's reports coming in now that an island in Iran has been bombed.
Correct. I have all that information.
Yeah,
it's horrible. Yeah. During this 2-week alleged ceasefire that was supposed to happen, only about 10 to 15 ships were permitted to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. This was the proposal that Iran put together that Donald Trump agreed to. Only 10 or 15 ships were permitted to pass through the Strait of Hormuz with Iran's approval, in coordination with the IRGC Navy, and after payment of tolls. And the United States committed to release all the Iran frozen assets. This was in the 10-point plan. And the Strait of Hormuz by no means be open in its previous form, even after a final agreement, which hasn't been made, not even close. And in addition, the United States has committed to refraining from any troop movements during this period. Negotiations only held based on Iran's 10-point plan, not any plan put
Is it a
forth by
plan or
Donald
is it
Trump.
10-point demands?
And the details are referenced in the statement of the Supreme National Security Council. And as they've stated, in the event of no agreement, the war will resume, which it is right now. The war is resuming right now. There's no ceasefire. Both sides have broken the ceasefire agreement. Meanwhile, Caroline the Liar Leavitt is celebrating like there was some sort of victory. It's anything but. Not only is the war continuing right now and more innocent people are dying as we speak, the Strait of Hormuz is closed. And they're lying to the American people. They're lying.
It was a 10-point demand. Let's call it what it was. Donald Trump backed off. They took the 15-point plan from Donald Trump and they tore it up and threw it in the trash.
Yeah.
And they said, no, this is what we want.
Right.
And I don't know, do you think the ceasefire is it's not losing, but is that a loss for us?
Well, more breaking news to share with you to answer your question.
I can't wait to hear it.
The 2-week ceasefire has lasted 12 hours, and now we have confirmed reports of U.S. airstrikes that are taking place in Tehran right now as we speak. Right now as we speak. And yet Caroline Leavitt just held a press conference like 10 minutes ago that just ended, claiming that everything's hunky-dory dandy. So let me just
get this right. Lavon Island was attacked earlier today.
Right, exactly. Let me just get this straight. Here's what happened. Correct me if I'm wrong. Donald Trump threatened an entire civilization, threatened war crimes. He then Taco Trumped, as he always does, and agreed to not our 10-point plan, Iran's 10-point plan, where they're bragging about it, saying, we got everything we wanted. Yeah. And then 12 hours later, one would argue it was even less than that, Israel breaks the ceasefire. Iran breaks the ceasefire. The war is continuing, and the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. Yeah. Did I get any of that wrong?
That's all you got to ask, Brian, is who is in control? If Trump was in control, if America was in control of the Strait of Hormuz, then you could argue that something was accomplished. But Iran was never in control of the Strait of Hormuz. But you know who is now? You know who controls it now? They do. They decided to open it. They decided to close it. Is that a victory?
No.
Or was Caroline Leavitt just... I don't even know what she was saying this morning. She was all over and she's so mean and rude to people.
Well, and she lies. So what you were just mentioning about the island, I want to give details about that because this is very important. So strikes have hit an Iranian oil refinery on Lavon Island, which is what the island is called. Iran has retaliated with strikes on targets in Kuwait, Bahrain, and the UAE. Footage has also been shared by Iranian media that shows the fire and black smoke at the refinery located in the Persian Gulf after what a major Iranian national oil company described as an attack by the enemy. You would make the argument that it is worse now than it was 24 hours ago.
Yes, that's the point. That's the point. And if they reopen it, they have a list of demands. They're like, we want to charge people. We want to control who goes through, who doesn't go through. This never existed before we attacked Iran. None of this existed in the Strait of Hormuz. No one controlled it.
Now, just a few hours ago, forget about even the Caroline Leavitt press conference, which was filled with lies. Meanwhile, we're striking, and in this war is continuing, right? And we're doing strikes literally while Caroline Leavitt is talking about a ceasefire and talking about how the Strait of Hormuz is open, which it's now closed again, which, by the way, was open a few months ago, I might add, before this war started. So while Caroline Leavitt is lying about this war, about the ceasefire, which was already broken, we have Pete Hegseth, who held the press conference a few hours ago. He had to know that this was going on. When Pete Hegseth held this press conference a couple hours ago, he knew that the ceasefire was broken by both parties.
All lies.
Entire lies. Here's what Pete Hegseth had to say. Meanwhile, ballistic missiles were being fired, and Hegseth interrupts the reporter and attacks a reporter. Watch this.
Thank you, Secretary.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Why are you so rude? Just wait. I'm calling on people.
Thank you, Secretary. Yesterday in the President's
Yeah.
Truth Social, he threatened to
Yeah, exactly.
a civilization.
Exactly. So you have the war, which is continuing now. The ceasefire lasted hours. A reporter saying, wait, what are you talking about? Ballistic missiles are being fired right now as we speak. Excuse me, why are you being so rude?
It's their job.
You clown.
They call him Keg's breath.
Think about how embarrassing this is for the United States of America and Donald Trump.
It is. I'm embarrassed as an American. I am so completely embarrassed. We do not have the moral high ground. And not only that, Brian, America doesn't even care about the moral high ground anymore. They don't even care how they look to the world. This is the same thing that dictators do. This is the same thing, that rhetoric about killing off a civilization and none of them will exist anymore and threatening to commit genocide. You know where that comes from? That comes from Stalin. That comes from Hitler and people like that. Those kinds of people are now the American president, that regime.
And by the way, Pete Hegseth unless I would assume most of you already probably knew this, but Pete Hegseth has put our troops in harm's way. And a few weeks ago, Pete Hegseth said, we will give no quarter to Iranian troops. Yeah. And now the president says he's choosing mercy. So a reporter asked Pete Hegseth about this. Watch this.
Because of that. And also you said earlier that the president chose mercy. But you yourself had said 3 weeks ago that we will give no quarter to Iranian troops. How do you correlate those two? And do you think that your comments may have put American troops at risk?
No. I try to be nice up here, but you did listen to what I said, right? I laid out the objectives. We believe we've accomplished them, and it's a historic military victory. And President Trump has the option as the commander-in-chief to compel an adversary to the table, which is precisely what he did. And at the end, he chose to say, you know what, I'd rather talk to you at the table than obliterate your capability to export oil and fund your terror regime. So he did make that choice. That was his choice. He was a president of peace, and he's been willing to make those really tough calls that the American people elected him to do. Nothing we've done, not a single thing we've done. This is a typical, of course, it's ABC. Not a single thing we've done has put an American troop in more of a harm's way. We've only set our troops up to harm Iranian military capabilities, which they've done to devastating fashion and to great success. Mr. Chairman, you had a point.
There's a lot in that question. I'd love to take that offline and answer it, but I'm struggling to find exactly what your question was, and that's probably me, not you.
No.
Okay, all right.
Sorry about that. Mr. Chairman, it was an indictment framed as a question, so you're forgiven for not understanding. Go ahead, please. No, you've had your chance. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much.
I believe so, based on the diplomatic negotiation.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, well, guess what? You're wrong, because it's not open. You lying scumbag. You knew it wasn't open, General. You knew it wasn't open, and you just lied to the American people, just like Caroline Leavitt lied to the American people. And Mr. Hegseth, how is this a success? Please explain to me so far in this war how any of it has been a success other than obviously getting a pilot back, but he should have never been there to begin with. Explain to me how this is a success. I will explain it again as to why it's not. The Strait of Hormuz is closed again. The ceasefire agreement has been broken by Israel and Iran. The war is continuing. Iran got all their demands met in this agreement. America got nothing out of this.
They didn't get the uranium. They didn't get any nuclear bombs.
No.
They didn't change the regime.
And
they didn't save the people. Should I go on?
Yeah, and guess who got 97% of their uranium? Guess who got that? Barack Obama when he was president. But they don't want to talk about that.
Do you think we're going to end up at the same Barack Obama JCPOA, the same agreement? Because all they have to do, if they allow inspections and they allow us to control the uranium and we give them back their sanctions and give them back their money, that's the JCPOA. That's what Trump canceled in 2017 because he hated Barack Obama. Mm-hmm. And we're going to go right back. And let me say something about Pete Hegseth, about no quarter and no mercy. Doesn't he understand that the Geneva Convention and their international law also applies to us? It's not just how we treat others. It also applies to us. So when you say no quarter to Iran and you say there's no mercy to Iran and we're going to destroy your civilization, how are they supposed to take that? Are they now going to take people that are captured or shot down and they're going to mistreat them because we said no quarter?
No,
you understand? It works both ways.
Of course it does. And I'm laying out the foundation as to where we're at right now. And it's the opposite of what the White House is saying. It's the opposite of what Pete Hegseth is saying. By the way, here's Hegseth talking about God again. God and glory. It's just
I don't think he knows
it's
God
so insane when they start talking about God. But watch this.
Our troops, our American warriors, deserve the credit for this day. But God deserves all the glory. Tens of thousands of sorties, refuelings, and strikes carried out under the protection of divine providence. A massive effort with miraculous protection. Dude 44 Bravo spoke for all of us. God is good.
If you want to talk about miraculous, maybe we should talk about the 175 school children that you murdered, you scumbag. You want to talk about protection? Boy, you're doing a great protection. Yeah. Donald Trump said the other day, when the bombs stop, that's when these people will be unhappy. Are you effing kidding me? And he wants to talk about God.
They're begging them. Bomb us more. Bomb us more. That's the premise.
And here's
And what about Pope Leo talking about God and Christianity?
Yeah.
He said you can't support war. You can't vote for war and be a Christian. That's not what we stand for.
yeah, and then Pete Hegseth starts talking again about the strait. Let me repeat myself once again. The ceasefire agreement was broken by both parties. When I mean both parties, I'm talking about, of course, Israel and Iran. And as far as the Strait of Hormuz is concerned, it is still closed right now. And yet Pete Hegseth is celebrating about an agreement that was struck. This is insane. Watch this.
First, the Strait, you saw the initial agreement that was struck, which is Iran's letting ships go through. So there'll be that will be happening. They will be sailing. And ultimately, as the president, I mean, we've done an incredible job militarily inside the Strait of Hormuz. What Admiral Cooper, I failed to mention Admiral Cooper's name. He's done a phenomenal job along with everybody at AFCENT, NAVCENT, and ARCENT, and all the components down there, laying the groundwork for Iran. Iran doesn't have the same ability to defend it the way they did before. And so as the president has pointed out to the rest of the world, we barely get any of our energy out of the Strait, just a tiny fraction. It's time for the rest of the world to step up and ensure that that stays open after President Trump and the War Department brought Iran to the place where they are voluntarily opening it right now, as was announced.
No, they're not. No, they're not. He's lying. They're not opening it up. It's closed, you scumbag, you woman-abusing scumbag. It's closed, you alcoholic, lush piece of turd. You're lying. Caroline Levette's lying. Every report across the world is saying that it's shut down, and we're the only idiots that are saying it's open. They're lying.
I think they just create their own reality, Brian. They wake up in the morning, they go, this is what I want. This is how I think it should be. Let's go tell them that we won and that we got in a plan and the strait is open. And remember, the strait being open is only a very, very small part of what they're supposed to be accomplishing. I would dare anyone to call in today, anyone, and call in and name one thing that Trump has accomplished. Name just one thing that
getting our innocent soldiers killed, thousands of innocent people in Iran killed, a plethora of innocent people in Israel killed, and other parts of the world. And the fact that we're spending $2 billion a day on this war and we've received nothing in return except for embarrassment. Oh yeah, by the way, the question was asked, is the president still encouraging Iranians to rise up? Watch this.
Yes, two questions actually for you. So during this time, is the president are you still encouraging civilians to rise up against the regime, or are they satisfied with this new regime change, or is this two-week period to kind of see where that leads? Also, talk about the enriched uranium going in there. Would that require special forces or other military, our service members? Who would be basically going in there and trusted to going in there to get that uranium out?
Mm-hmm. Again, on the uranium, we're watching it. We know what they have, and they will give it up, and we'll get it, and we'll take it. If we have to, we can do it in any means necessary. So that's something the president is going to solve for. We already have Midnight Hammer, with the place we put them in, and the reason it's in the situation where it is. The second one was about the people. Listen, I would love to see the Iranian people take advantage of this opportunity. They have been oppressed by the previous regime, and they'll have a new opportunity with this regime. That remains to be seen. That was not our objective in this effort, but they're brave people. Horrible things have been done to them by the previous regime. Tens of thousands targeted and killed and assassinated in a way the government never should. And we wish them the best. Absolutely. Thank you all very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Is there any evidence to show you that this regime isn't more radical, that isn't more capable, and doesn't hate America more? Yet you're trying to make the case that this regime now is smarter, as Donald Trump would say, and less dangerous.
And if they're worried about mistreating people, what about Russia? What about North Korea? What about all of these communist states? What about Myanmar? What about all the places? If we're so concerned, then what are we going to do? We're going to go around the world now and try to release people from their regime that's tied into their religion. And what about Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
Look at the way Saudi Arabia treats their women. What about that?
Yeah, that's also a good point. I want to go back to the Strait of Hormuz again, because I cannot believe what I'm hearing.
It's a con. The whole thing's a con, Brian.
From Caroline Levitt and from General Kane. I want to play this again because I think this is really important. The general is lying to the American people. He is asked again in this press conference, is the Strait of Hormuz open? Listen to this.
It was an indictment framed as a question, so you're forgiven for not understanding. Go ahead, please. No, you've had your chance. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very
I
much.
believe so,
Mr.
based on the
Thank you very
diplomatic
much, Mr.
negotiation. So
Secretary.
I believe so.
It is
I
always
believe
nice
so.
to see you.
Sorry.
Mr. Kurd or Rahim Rashidi.
I believe so based on the agreement. This is how incompetent these people are. As he's saying that, Iran is closing it down as he's saying it. They are so stupid and incompetent, they can't even be straight with the American people. Either they're intentionally lying, incompetent, or both.
They can't tell the truth, Brian. They absolutely cannot. If they were to tell the American people right now that we just, the tail's wagging the dog and we just got wagged and they told us to beat it. And by the way, we're going to close the strait anytime we want to. I would say, that was up 1,200 points last time I looked. So maybe it was just about that.
And this is how stupid some of these right-wing clowns like the Mark Levins and the Clay Travises and all these right-wing and the Benny Johnsons and all these clowns. This is how horrible these people are. They go on social media today and they say, wow, he played you guys. The ultimate negotiator played all of you. I don't hear you guys complaining now.
Me.
Iran got everything they wanted and they broke the ceasefire and the Strait of Hormuz is closed. What the hell did Donald Trump negotiate? He negotiated nothing. It's just like when he said 10 months ago when there was peace in the Middle East. Remember when he said that during the Hamas-Israel negotiations? And he said, now we have peace in the Middle East. And then they broke the ceasefire within hours. I think they broke this ceasefire even faster.
12 hours, you said?
The art of the deal.
Well, it was longer than 12 minutes.
How could you make the case that Trump, the great, how could you make that case? I don't understand it. What did he do except Taco Trump once again give in and we give up everything and we get nothing in return? And here's Pete Hegseth basically making the case in so many words that we're still hanging around, meaning the war is going to continue.
There's all One America News. First of all, thank you to our troops. What role is our military playing in escorting vessels through the Strait of Hormuz at this point? And the president said on Truth Social that the U.S. will be hanging around to make sure everything goes well. Obviously, Mr. Secretary, you just mentioned, we know the scars from hanging around in Iraq for decades. But what does that entail in terms of our military presence at this juncture?
Yeah, we'll be hanging around. We're not going anywhere. We're going to make sure Iran complies with this ceasefire and then ultimately comes to the table and makes a deal. So we'll stay put, stay ready, stay vigilant, as the chairman laid out. Our troops are prepared to defend, prepared to go on offense, prepared to restart at a moment's notice with whatever target package would be needed in order to ensure that Iran complies. As far as the Strait,
Iran's parliament speaker has already said that the U.S. has already violated key clauses of Iran's 10-point framework before the actual real negotiations even begun. He cited Lebanon's ceasefire breaches, a drone incursion, and denial of enrichment rights. This has all happened in the last several hours. He has called the talks unreasonable under current conditions. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt claimed earlier that Iran has indicated that they would turn over enriched uranium and said the idea that President Trump would ever accept an Iranian wish list as a deal is completely absurd. That's exactly what he did. It's exactly what he did. And everybody is reporting on that. Another lie put forth by the White House. And what we are learning right now is that Iran is reportedly only planning to allow 12 ships per day through the Strait of Hormuz under the new ceasefire deal. But here's the problem with that. There is no ceasefire deal. That's why I'm not going to read the rest of that. There is no ceasefire deal. So that is irrelevant right now to what's going on.
It's been violated on both sides.
Yeah.
Both sides today, 12 hours later, have violated the ceasefire deal, which, and it looks like we're back to they bomb us, we bomb them. They bombed strategic points in the Middle East, and then we go and bomb them, which means nothing happened. Nothing progressed in the last 2 weeks, except for we spent probably about $28 billion since then.
Yeah.
Of our taxpayer money that we didn't agree to. And by the way, the only people buying this argument, Brian, right now are the 33% that's left, the MAGAs that still love Trump and will never change. But as far as independents and as far as Democrats and people who can think for themselves, no one's buying this.
And
No
by
one
the
is
way,
buying it.
while all this is going on and the Strait of Hormuz is now closed and the war has started up again and the ceasefire has been broken, to make matters even worse, if that wasn't enough bad news, Donald Trump is now discussing a potential withdrawal of the United States from NATO later this afternoon.
Yeah, he's meeting with.
It gets worse and
he's meeting
worse.
with the chairman. Yeah,
It gets worse and worse. This is the most chaotic administration in the history of this country. It's getting worse and worse by the day. As we speak, more innocent people are dying in this war. The ceasefire has been broken. The Strait of Hormuz has been shut down again. And meanwhile, Caroline Leavitt and the MAGA idiots on social media are claiming victory. And I ask all of you right now, what is the victory? Again, if we could go back to that statement, because if we could go back down to that, yeah, that'd be great. Caroline Leavitt was put on the spot, and I want to play this audio because I think it's very important. She was asked by a reporter today. This was literally like an hour ago.
I saw it.
And she was asked, is the Strait of Hormuz open? And she avoids the question. Watch this exchange. This is so embarrassing for the United States. Watch this.
Thank you, Brian. The White House posted the statement from the Iranian government that passage in the Strait will be coordinated with Iran's armed forces. As of today, who controls the Strait of Hormuz?
Again, these statements were put out 12 hours ago. We expect that the strait will be opened immediately. As I said earlier, we have seen an uptick in traffic in the strait, and it's something that we are monitoring minute by minute, hour by hour as the days go on.
That's a lie. There was no uptick.
There was no
that's a lie.
uptick, and Caroline Leavitt just lied to the American people. By the way, the answer to that question is Iran. They're still in control. It's a very simple answer that she will not.
Yeah, like I said in the beginning, Brian, that's all you have to ask. That's all you have to say is who controls the Strait of Hormuz, because that's the indicator of where we're at and who won and who's in control, because they opened it, then they closed it. If we had control, wouldn't we keep it open? Wouldn't we allow all the ships to go through? Wouldn't we allow the oil to flow? And by the way, let me just say, because I want to digress for a second with Pete Hegseth. So Pete Hegseth says, if they don't give us the enriched uranium, which is buried under rubble, we'll get it. And if we can't get it one way, we'll get it another. We'll do whatever it takes. We'll go get. Let me ask you something. Can you go in there and take that uranium with an air campaign? No, you have to have boots on the ground.
You have to have boots.
And in order to do that, remember, it took 6 months for George Bush to get ready to go into Iraq. People think he just decided to go and he went. It took 6 months.
And this is amazing, but Fox News is even now admitting, if I can go back up to that statement, Fox News is now admitting that President Trump did not achieve any of his objectives in the war. So I'm going to play you right now a clip, which I think is pretty telling, because we all know Fox News is Fox Noise. But this is just a few moments ago. Fox News admitting that Donald Trump has not achieved his objectives. Literally, this was just live on Fox News. Watch this.
But I will say that the president's demands, we have not reached any of those objectives. I have full confidence that the president is going to find some way to make this happen. But he said that we want to dismantle all major nuclear facilities. That has not happened. The end of uranium enrichment on the soil, they're still enriching. The transfer of the enriched uranium stockpiles out of Iran, that hasn't happened. The acceptance of intrusive international inspections, they're still not willing to do that. And they have not suspended their ballistic missiles program. They're still firing them off to stop the production of the long-range missiles. That's just a few of them on the president's proposal. The question is the president using this 2 weeks to give our soldiers a break, a rest, to see if we can get this ultimately done? We'll see.
Who needs to tell him? The war is going on right now.
Yeah.
What is he saying when he says, is he using this to give our troops a break? The F are you talking about? The war is going on right now.
Why would our troops need a break?
Yeah, what is he talking about? No, he's an idiot. The ceasefire.
Pete Hegseth, we're still there. We're ready to go.
Yeah.
Let's go. We're heating it up. Let's bomb them. We'll do whatever. And then he says, well, no, what they're doing is, this is Trump's typical 2 weeks. When he said the tariffs, they had 2 weeks, and he gave them a 2-week window, and we'll know in 2 weeks. This is the same thing. I think these 2 weeks are going to go by, and this war is only going to escalate. It's not going to get any better.
I mean, obviously,
And-
I agree with
And
you.
the points he made are valid points, Brian.
Yeah.
We didn't. There's no evidence that the nuclear program is stopped. They didn't get the uranium. In my opinion, the regime change was bad for bad, or bad for worse, or bad for younger, which is not good for America. They didn't release the people. The Kurds didn't join in and help us. I mean, which goal did he achieve? I challenged somebody the other day. He hung up on me. I'll be honest. It was a friend of mine who's a MAGA, and he hung up on me because I said, name one thing. I said, and he kept arguing. And I said, name one thing they've accomplished. And you know what he said? Well, he's settled 7 wars. I said, I'm not even talking about that. They changed the subject, and then they hung up on me.
I mean, let's review here what has taken place in just the last 24 hours before we take phone calls. Yesterday, Donald Trump threatened the end of a civilization with war crimes. I never thought that actually was going to happen, but just the fact that the president even brought that up as a threat is insane. Then we were told it was a victory for the United States when a ceasefire agreement allegedly was agreed upon by both sides. And then we learned that this was Iran's 10-point plan. It wasn't America's 10-point plan. This was everything and anything that Iran wanted that was agreed to. And Taco Trump was in action once again. Now we've learned that the ceasefire agreement was broken not just by Israel, but by Iran with retaliation. Will he put any responsibility on Benjamin Netanyahu? Because it appears as though Israel struck first, not Iran. And now the big part about all this, and MAGA was celebrating the fact that the Strait of Hormuz was open, which it's now closed down again. And meanwhile, Pete Hegseth and Caroline Leavitt are continuing to lie to the American people. Well, it should be open anytime now. It should be open. It's closed. And now we're learning that the war is started up once again.
So they accomplished nothing.
And Senator Lindsey Graham is now saying J.D. Vance must explain to Congress how the Iran ceasefire meets U.S. security goals, which clearly it doesn't. There was no ceasefire.
Well, you're not when you're at war, Brian. You're not supposed to have a ceasefire.
Yeah,
and especially if America's saying they're winning and we're blowing them up. Iran was never known for their Navy. They were never really known for their Air Force. What they were known for is their ballistic missile program and their drones. And you know what? I don't think they did much damage to that at all.
So obviously, this is one of those shows today where I want to hear from the American people. I want to hear from PTL Nation. As Leonard said, name me one thing that we've accomplished here, that the president has accomplished.
Call in.
We played a clip of Fox News basically admitting that the president hasn't reached really any of his objectives thus far.
I agree.
This ceasefire has been, I mean, I'm trying to figure out what was worse. I think this is actually worse than the alleged ceasefire that was met between Hamas and Israel 10 months ago. Remember when Donald Trump said that now we have peace in the Middle East, and then hours later, both Israel and Hamas broke the ceasefire? I think this is even worse.
Hamas was executing people.
Yeah.
They were knocking on their doors.
Yeah, and
the people who talked bad about them, they were executing them in the street.
And now
this is during their ceasefire.
And now we're firing missiles, and the war is back up and running again. Unfortunately, the Strait of Hormuz is closed. I think you can make the argument that things are even worse now than they were 24 hours ago. And yet there are some MAGA grifters on social media that are celebrating, saying the art of the deal.
Is he the worst negotiator in history?
I think he might be.
That's my opinion.
He might be.
And I don't know if that's everyone's opinion, but he's absolutely. I've done tons of. I was a union president for several years, and I negotiated with big cities for big contracts.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something: negotiations is not that easy. And the way he does it is he beats you over the head, and then he tries to make a deal with you. But what happened was, people call it a 10-point plan that came from Iran. You know what I call it? A 10-point demand. That's
and
what it
now
was.
Donald Trump apparently is going to be holding a press conference later this afternoon saying we're going to be getting out of NATO. It just gets worse and worse. Again, if you're just joining us, the breaking news: the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Iran is still in complete control of it. The war is now continuing. And this is where we're at right now as a country. This is where we're at right now as a country. I'm going to open up the phone lines if you guys want to chime in here. Yeah, we'll get to the YouTube super chat in just a moment, but let me give out the number first and let me open up the phone lines for some of you people in MAGA that are celebrating. I ask you, what are you celebrating about? The ceasefire has been broken by Israel and Iran. The war is ongoing now again. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. What has Trump accomplished. Oh, yeah, by the way, just another small little tidbit. Pete Hegseth and Caroline Leavitt and the White House are lying to the American people. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. It's not
How about if
open.
we challenge them to do that, Brian? How about if we challenge them to call in and tell us one thing that Pete Hegseth or Caroline Leavitt said that was accurate? Just one. Tell us one thing that was accurate.
Yeah. Before we take calls, I'll just go through a quick list here really quickly. As I mentioned, the so-called ceasefire unraveled in real time. New strikes hit Iran. Iran retaliated across the region. Israel has escalated attacks. I am so sick of the Israeli government. I have had it up to here with Benjamin Netanyahu.
Because he doesn't listen to Trump.
No,
he does what he
doesn't.
wants.
The Israel escalated attacks by attacking Lebanon, and disputes over the deal's terms have deepened. It's worse now. Violations of the ceasefire reported in multiple different places. Meanwhile, before that even happened, Iran was demanding a $1 per barrel of oil passing through the Strait of Hormuz. Donald Trump said that we would be getting tolls from that, which is not true. About only 10 to 15 ships would have been permitted. That's not happening now at all. This was Iran's 10-point deal. It wasn't Donald Trump's 10-point deal. There was no negotiation. Iran got anything and everything that they wanted. We're now seeing the shape of why Iran agreed to enthusiastically to this alleged ceasefire that was broken by Israel. They would have been in control of the toll of the strait for the first time. They would have kept their nuclear program. They would have kept their missiles. This is a freaking disaster. Strikes hit an Iran oil refinery in Lavon Island today, and then Iran decided to retaliate. And meanwhile, the Trump administration is lying to the American people. The Trump administration is lying to the American people. This is insane.
Yeah, they bombed Kuwait. They bombed Iran, parts of the UAE. And so when Pete Hegseth says that he completely disabled their missile program and completely destroyed their ability to fight, is that really the truth, Brian? Is it? Can someone call in and please explain to me how that's the truth?
I'll open up the phone lines if somebody could please explain to us one thing that America has gotten from this situation other than our brave men and women coming home in caskets, $2 billion a day for this war. By the way, the Strait of Hormuz was open before this war started.
And nobody was even concerned about it, Brian.
Insane. This is insane.
No one even cared. It was operating normally every day by all sides.
I cannot believe how anybody that is a Trump supporter could say that this is the art of the deal when everything has broken down in 12 hours. The ceasefire agreement has broken down. Israel struck first. There is reports everywhere, video, that Israel struck Lebanon. A ceasefire agreement was broken by Israel. Then Iran, not surprisingly so, struck back in retaliation. The ceasefire is over. America is now involved in this war again. It broke down within 12 hours. The Strait of Hormuz is closed, and now we go to the phone lines. 702.
Oh, by the way, Iran shot down an F-35, which is impossible to shoot down. 2 F-18s that are impossible to shoot down. They shot down a Warthog, which has like 10 times the amount of steel that protects planes, and it's a low-flying plane, and they shot that down.
That is true. Let's get right to the phone calls. Let's start with Andy, who's calling out of New Jersey. Hey, Andy, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, Ryan?
Hey,
Leonard.
Yes.
Are you there, Leonard?
Go ahead, Andy.
How's your pin pan today? Is it strong?
My what?
I need your pin pan.
What's that?
I don't.
This is Andy. You don't know what your pin pan is? Okay. I thought you're from Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, I'm from the real New Jersey. Where you from? Cherry Hill? You're from like Cherry Hill, and you say you're from New Jersey?
All right, so nobody knows what caller.
Nobody knows what pin pan is, but go ahead.
Caller, what's on your mind today?
Come on, Andy.
They all know what a pin pan is.
No one knows.
Smack Brian for me. Put on a nice big thick ring and smack Brian, because I've been telling you guys every time I call, and you don't know who I am because you guys don't care about Andy from New Jersey, but
Andy, how about this? Let me interrupt you real quick. Name one thing that Trump has accomplished, because you sound like a MAGA mushroom gobbler. Name one thing that they've accomplished in Iran. I'm gonna let you go.
How about I could
He's a
interject
MAGA.
here? Caller, stop talking. All right, stop talking.
He's definitely a MAGA.
Okay, everybody.
I'm not a MAGA.
Yes, you
Pot
are.
him down. Pot him down. Don't care. We're going to be on topic today. We're talking about the Strait of Hormuz that has been closed down. I'm asking people questions about that. Have we accomplished anything in this war, Andy, as now we pod you back up?
I'm not a MAGA.
Let's move on from that. Let's move. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. Let's move
talk
on.
about the war,
Let's
not
move
you.
on from that now. If you could answer my question.
Put in a good word for JoJo.
All right.
You
Have a
What did
nice
he
day.
say?
Have a nice day. 702-221-7283.
Jojo would not tolerate him for a
702
second.
702-221-7283. Let's move on to the next call. Let's go to John.
That
John,
was weird.
John is next up on PTL. What's up, John?
Hey, John. Hi, Brian. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
So generally, I've called in a few times. Generally, I first agreed with the war when we took down their leader, but ever since that, I don't agree with anything we're doing.
Who's their new leader?
It's pointless.
Who's their new leader, John?
I have no clue.
You don't know. Okay, let me just inform you. Yeah, it's a good thing that the Ayatollah was taken out, but now we have his son in control, who's more radical and younger. So I don't think that's something to celebrate about. That's just my personal opinion.
I understand. I'm not really celebrating it either. I just don't think that we should have anybody even remotely connected to them in
Okay, so
command there.
how are they going to accomplish that? That's a good point, John. We need new change. We need regime change. Younger, someone who's more democratic, someone who believes in women's rights, someone who doesn't kill their own people when they protest because of civil rights and because of First Amendment like we have. So how should we do that if you believe that?
I wish I could give you a clear answer as to how we could do that.
At least he's
but
honest.
I think something that we could do is maybe we could actually train somebody and see if the people of Iran would actually agree with that side of what we're doing on our
You mean
end to try to help them and
assimilate an American to think like an Iranian
I don't even know
and send
really-
him over there? That's
I
not
don't
going to
even-
happen.
I don't even really know
That's
what that
not
means.
gonna. That's
But
not
John,
even feasible.
John, if the elections were tomorrow, would you vote for Trump or Harris?
I wouldn't vote.
You wouldn't vote. So
well, then
so-
you know what? Then
so-
you have no right to complain about anything.
Yeah, I mean, really. So hold on, let me get this straight. We're in an ill-advised war that is costing us $2 billion a day, and our American soldiers are coming home in caskets. The economy is in the dumpster. Gas, I had to pay $5.25 a gallon. The unemployment numbers continue to rise. Inflation continues to rise. He stole he stole $175 billion from the American people with these tariffs. But yet, if the elections were held tomorrow, you're telling me you wouldn't vote for Harris either?
No.
Okay, well then you're a buffoon. Have a nice day. 702.
Well, he wants to call into a show and make a point, but he's not willing to vote. That makes no sense because if you don't
Not
vote,
a serious person.
then you cannot have a serious conversation
Not a
about what
serious,
actually happened.
not a serious person. And for the record, I don't believe John's testes have dropped yet. 702-221-7283 is the number. Yeah, thank you. I'm stupid. Yeah, I'm the stupid one. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Brandon. Brandon is next on PTL. What's up, Brandon?
Hi, Leonard.
Hey, Brandon, how are you?
So, for the past 11 years, what have those conversations been with police officers who support Trump?
Oh, let me tell you something right now. I'm going to be perfectly honest. They control the police department. They control the rhetoric. I was a union president for several years, and I'm a Democrat, and I fought for the rights that we have in our collective bargaining agreement. And about 75 to 80% of my membership was conservative Republicans, and many of them were Trumpers. And I could not explain to them how they were voting against their own best self-interest. I could not get the point to them because every time I would talk about what's important to us, like union rights or workers' rights or civil rights, they would talk about, well, what about the border? Well, what about the guns? Well, what about the immigrants? And they would bring up something that is important, but totally irrelevant to what makes their life great, which was their collective bargaining agreement. And so I was never able to, I don't think I was able to talk even one of them out of being a MAGA.
Okay, so I'm not sure. I think his approval rating is too high. 30, I've seen 37. Last week it was 36. And I don't understand how an approval rating can go up 1% if you threaten to kill a whole
Well, those are polls, and if you look at the numbers, they only do about 1,000 or 2,000 people. But you can be assured that right around 33% of the MAGA crowd is going to stick with him no matter what. And that's the problem for the Republicans. They're never going to get reelected. They're never going to be back in power because they cannot convince the independents. They cannot in the middle of the road Democrats. They're not going to be able to convince anyone. They stick with the MAGA base, and all the Republicans stick with the MAGA base. And so they're always going to be around that 32, 33%. I don't see those people, maybe Brian has a different opinion, but I don't see those people leaving Trump anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's going to be very hard to throw him out of office. I think it's just going to happen like his last term. The House is going to impeach him, and then the Senate will throw the charges away.
Well, let's certainly hope so, my friend. And I really do appreciate your call. Thank you very much. By the way, as I mentioned to start the show, Iran's press television also reporting that the Strait of Hormuz has been closed. But I already knew that based on all the other reports there. But just kind of re-emphasizing that, that's not an opinion, that's a fact. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Jim. Jim is next on PTL. What's up, Jim?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
I'm just really struggling after this whole month of stress and just these tweets or socials about just the constant changing. I was like, what did we truly accomplish? What was the point of all this?
Right. Yep.
I mean, you take a look at Obama's agreement. I think one of the big things that was a complaint by Trump was, oh, well, we're giving them money. We're giving Iran so much money. And it was probably less money than the money that we spent doing this, bombing campaign.
Well, let me tell you, Jim,
against Iraq.
It was about $150 billion. And a lot of it was put on a plane. Trump is right about that. And a lot of it was cash because they sent pallets of cash. But here's the thing that Trump doesn't point out. What Obama did was he lifted sanctions and gave Iran the money that was already theirs. It was not American money. It was not taxpayer money. It was not money that we disagreed with. And in return to giving them their sanctions and their money back, what happened was in the JCPOA with Obama is we were able to have international inspectors go in once a week or anytime we wanted on a surprise inspection. Yeah. And by the way, it's been reported, and you can check this. You can fact check it if you want. The uranium was only 3.5% at the time that Obama made this deal, and now it's 60%.
I want to give you guys a timeline of some of the quotes that Donald Trump has made over the course of the last month. On March 3rd, Donald Trump said, "We won the war." On March 7th, Donald Trump said, "We defeated Iran." On March 9th, Donald Trump said, "We must attack Iran." He also said later that day, hours later, "The war is ending almost completely and very beautifully." On March 10th, he said practically nothing left to target. On March 11th, he said, "You never like to say too early you won." We won. In the first hour, it was over. On March 12th, he said, "We did win, but we haven't won completely yet." On March 13th, Donald Trump said, "We won the war." On March 14th, Donald Trump said, "Please help us." On March 15th, Donald Trump said, "If you don't help us, I will certainly remember it." On March 16th, he said, "Actually, we don't need any help at all." Later that day, he said, "I was just testing to see who's listening to me." He said, "If NATO doesn't help, they will suffer something very bad." The next day, on March 17th, he said, "We neither need nor want NATO's help." He said, "I don't need congressional approval to withdraw from NATO." On March 18th, he said, "Our allies must cooperate in reopening the Strait of Hormuz." On the 19th, he said, "U.S. allies need to get a grip. Step up and help open the Strait of Hormuz." On the 20th, he said, "NATO are cowards." On the 21st, he said, "The Strait of Hormuz must be protected by the countries that use it. We don't use it. We don't need to open it." On the 22nd, he said, "This is the last time. I will give Iran 48 hours." Later that day, he said, "Iran is dead." On the 23rd, he said, "We had very good and productive talks with Iran." On the 24th, he said, "We're making progress." On the 25th, he said, "They gave us a present," and the present arrived today, and it was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. I'm going to tell you what that is. The next day, he said, "Make a deal or we'll just keep blowing them away." On the 27th, he said, "We don't have to be there for NATO." On the 28th, no major quotes, actually, believe it or not. On the 29th, he claimed talks were progressing. On the 30th, he said, "Open the Strait of Hormuz immediately or face devastating consequences." By the way, these are actual quotes. I'm not making this up.
I'm familiar with all of them.
On the 31st, he said, claimed a deal was very close and that Iran would do the right thing. On the 1st of April of this month, he said, we'll see what happens very soon. On the 2nd, he said, repeated that a deal was likely while warning of continued strikes if not. And on the 3rd, he said something big is going to happen. On the 4th, he said Iran must comply immediately or face further consequences. On the 5th, he said, open the effing strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. On April 6th, he said a whole civilization will die. On the 7th, he said total and complete victory. And on April 8th, objectives were met. This is an entire disaster of
Who wrote
epic
that? Who wrote that
proportions.
delusional piece of all the objectives were met? Oh, that's what Pete Hegseth said, right?
Yeah. And by the way, the man who put out that tweet, my personal friend, Anthony Scaramucci, this really
I like the mooch.
This really is an absolute failure
should
and
have him on
debacle. Yeah, we'll get the mooch back on the show. And I appreciate the phone call, sir. Thank you very much. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. All right, let's see. Let's get back to the phone calls. Let's go to Andy. Andy is next on PTL.
The same
Hello,
Andy?
Andy? No, different Andy. What's up, Andy?
I just want to tell Leonard, you know,
Same
I don't think you're going to get one phone call today because I keep asking these MAGAs.
Phone lines are
Every time I
packed.
get in,
He was talking about MAGA calls.
Oh,
he was
oh.
talking about. Yeah. Go ahead, Andy.
yeah. So every time I ask MAGAs, I always go, name one thing that your cult leader has done for the American people to make our lives a lot more affordable, and they can't. But they always bring up the damn border. Always bring up the damn border. And you know what? I live here in Florida. The freaking gas went down to $3.99 this morning. Guess what? It went back up to $4.25. This guy is a freaking nut job. He needs to be removed. And it's just, dude, this is sad. I'm 62 years old. I've never, ever, well, actually, I'm not going to call him a president because he ain't. He's a jackass.
Well, all we can do is invite MAGAs to call conservative Republicans, which are different than MAGAs in my mind. All we can do is invite them to call and damn it, Brian, if you weren't so good at debating, maybe we would get more. You know,
Well, I appreciate I appreciate the call, sir. By the way, JD Vance just said he sees increased traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, the Strait of Hormuz is closed.
What does he see?
These MAGA buffoon imbeciles. Everyone across the world is reporting, including Iran, that the Strait of Hormuz is closed. And yet our fool vice president, couch abuser, buffoon, is saying that there's more traffic. I mean, these people are so stupid and incompetent. It's absolutely
Iran might be
unbelievable.
letting some allies through. They might be letting some Russian ships or Chinese ships through.
According to their own media and everyone else in the region, it is closed, and that's not happening. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Nick. Nick is next up on PTL. Hello, Nick.
Hey, Brian, Leonard, how you guys doing?
What's up, man?
Hey, I called yesterday. Had a little bit to say, but I've been kind of watching the news since last night, and I'm just so fuming would be an understatement, but it's just embarrassing right now to kind of be, where we're at right now. Like as an American, it's kind of embarrassing that, we have this administration and Trump leading this administration, into chaos. And, there's I don't know when it's going to end, and then on top of it all, I don't know if this is true or not, but I believe he's involved in some kind of insider trading. I don't know if that's true or not, but I just believe that. But even if that's not true, he is the reason why, service members have come home in caskets. He is the reason why 170 kids from Iran got bombed at school and died, lost their lives. And then I can't stand him. I really can't stand Pete Hegseth for anything because all he does is lie. And his own mom doesn't even like him. It's just all.
As an American, are you embarrassed when you see Trump and Hegseth and all these people lying and making up stories and using the American resources to basically last night had the whole world on edge. The whole world was scared. Is it embarrassing as an American? Is it something that is, makes you feel like this is not the same America we grew up in?
Yeah. It's very embarrassing. Like, it's hard to turn on the news and that's another thing going on. And, Pete Hegseth is just lying out of his teeth. Just seems like every time he gets on the mic, every time he gets in front of a podium, he's just lying, and then Donald Trump is lying. Just it seems like every time really. And it is embarrassing. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, I was very worried, very fearful, and I'm not a MAGA grifter at all. Can't stand them at all.
By the way, as we are speaking right now, there are people that believe the Trump administration because they're so freaking stupid.
The same MAGAs.
And they believe that the Strait of Hormuz is open and that they're allowing ships to go through. Let me repeat once again to the dummies in the chat. According to Iran television, according to every single outlet, including the Associated Press and outlets around the world, let me repeat, the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Closed meaning no ships are allowed to go through. The only people in the world right now that are claiming the Strait of Hormuz is somewhat open is the United States Donald Trump administration. That's it. It is a blatant lie. I want to be very clear to all of you. If you want to talk about a lie, the lie is coming from Donald Trump, Caroline Leavitt, and Pete Hegseth. Let me repeat once again, the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Now, I hope it opens up at some point today. Right now, it's closed. Both sides have broken a ceasefire agreement. My understanding is Israel struck first, which is not a surprise with the Israeli government. I am tired of funding the Israeli government. I am tired of Benjamin Netanyahu. If they want to fight a war with Iran, that is their business and it shouldn't be ours. And guess what? I even did a 4.5-hour debate with a staunch MAGA Republican, and even he agreed with me that this war is a disaster and that we should never have gotten involved in it. There are not many people left other than those in Donald Trump's administration that are defending this. And this is a disaster. It would have been one thing. I still would have disagreed with the war, but it would have been one thing if there was some sort of agreement that was met last night that actually benefited the United States. First of all, not only was the 10-point plan not benefit the United States, but it was also the ceasefire was broken. So it make things even worse. And the Strait, 12 hours, and the Strait of Hormuz is closed. It's not open. How many times do I have to say it to you MAGA buffoons out there? The Strait of Hormuz is closed. The war is continuing. We are sending bombs now. And if you don't believe me, you can go on any national network and they would tell you the same thing.
Nick, let me ask you something. What does it say to you? Because I had this talk with someone that's a couple of days ago. What does it say to you that we can't rely on American resources or the White House for information, for accurate information, that everyone now is talking about, well, Iran said this or Pakistan said this. What does it say that Americans are now believing what Iran says because they have proof? They show some proof, physical proof of what's going on. What does it say to you that now we have to listen to Iran for accurate news?
We're supposed to be the greatest country in the world, and we can't even depend on our own news outlets to tell the truth to us. Just like Caroline Leavitt getting on there and just lying about everything. And then we got this guy Trump, who literally I think he is launching a federal investigation. I think it's a CNN about something that they quoted from the Iranian media or trusted Iranian media members. I think that's what he's doing. And the fact that he's putting more energy into that rather than to actually not get into any more wars like he promised and campaigned on, it's a letdown to say the least, but it's part of the embarrassment.
Yeah, he's no peacemaker. And thank you so much, Nick, for your opinion on that.
Yeah, thank you for the phone call. I was just going to say that if Kamala Harris was president, which clearly she is not, I'm pretty confident she would have said Israel could fight this war on their own. I'm pretty confident that any Democrat that would have been president would have said, Israel, you can fight this war on your own. They weren't an imminent threat to us. You see no evidence that they were an imminent threat to you. Israel started this thing. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not feeling bad for Iran in any way, shape, or form.
Israel's loving life.
But you can make the argument that Iran has a more younger, more capable, more extreme regime than they even had a month ago. Iran apparently told mediators It would limit the number of ships crossing the strait, as I know, because we talked about this a little bit earlier today. And at this point in that 10-point plan, we actually covered it. 4 ships were allowed to pass earlier today before they actually closed it immediately.
Right.
And Iran would require ships to work out toll arrangements, which, by the way, Donald Trump said he wanted to be a part of. Iran never
There's some
agreed to
reporting that it could be up to 2 million.
Yeah.
That they could go up to 2 million per ship to go through the strait.
Correct. But as I repeat once again, very important to note, right now, the Strait of Hormuz is completely shut down. It is completely shut down. This is an absolute disgrace. It's an embarrassment to America. And the reason why is because you guys voted in Donald Trump. When I say you guys, I'm not talking about most of PTL Nation, of course. A few here and there. All right, let's take some
up to the minute.
Yep.
On breaking news. Iran and Lebanon close the Strait of Hormuz. That's what CNN is reporting.
I've been saying that since the start of the show.
Well,
I mean,
there's people in the chat that are saying that's not true.
Well,
and
who cares?
They're hearing different, you know.
Well, they can go. They can listen to Donald Trump and Caroline Levitt and Lindell TV if they would like. Let's go to John. John is next up on PTL. Hey, John, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. Hey, you keep talking about the MAGA people. I think the MAGA attitude is going to change when there's going to be no gas available for anybody. When you have gas shortages, when there's going to be not enough oil coming to this country to satisfy everybody.
So, John, I understand why you would say that, right? But here's why I slightly disagree with you. After January 6th, Donald Trump got more support. Every single time Donald Trump does something catastrophic to the world and to this country, they still support him. So, I mean, they'll always find a way and an excuse to support this 34-count felon liable abuser.
They asked Donald Trump just a couple of weeks ago, what do you think about these gas prices? They're killing Americans. You know what he said? I'm not too worried about gas prices. Now, remember, that comment comes from a billionaire. So obviously, John, a billionaire is not worried about gas prices. He's not worried about what we pay for gas. Do you know that this is a fact? You can go to Summerlin in Las Vegas and you will pay $6.09 a gallon for premium. And by the way, my cars take premium, so I can't get regular.
Yeah. By the way, latest reports, the White House is still saying that the Strait of Hormuz is open. I mean, it's like unbelievable. It's like unbelievable, the lies coming from the White House. I mean, you know, again, every other outlet in Iran and everywhere else saying that the Strait of Hormuz is closed. The only people that are saying it's open is the United States and the Trump administration. I mean, this is insane. The levels of lies of this administration is crazy. Thank you for the call, my friend. I appreciate you. Number to call is 702-221-7283. 702-221-SAVE is the number to call. Let's go to Lou. Lou is next on PTL. What's up, Lou?
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, guys, what's going on?
What's up, man?
You know what the sick part about this is Trump is telling them actually to go out and lie about everything, and people will believe it if you say it enough. Because I've been watching Pete Hegseth and I've been watching Caroline Levitt at these news conferences, and all they do is lie, and they repeat it 50 times. And also, this is looking a lot like Putin, man. This is looking a lot like Putin, killing civilization, stopping media from going into press meetings. I mean, this is looking a lot like Russia to me.
Well, speaking of Russia, this just in, Russia would welcome Trump's decision to leave NATO, by the way. Of course they would. Of course Vladimir Putin would speak.
Anything that weakens NATO would be good for Russia.
Yeah, yeah.
Putin told me that NATO is a paper tiger. Okay, Donald.
No, they're not.
What is he going to say?
Well, he's talking about, Article 5 says, if you attack one, you attack all. That's what NATO is about. But when you go on your own and you don't even check with them and you go bomb a country and you basically ruin the economy of the entire country, there are small countries in Southeast Asia that are running out of fuel. They're literally Africa. Look at Africa, Senegal and all those countries. They're actually running out of fuel. And when somebody goes and does that and doesn't check with you, I'm the same way, Brian. I'd be the same way. And if somebody came to me and said, hey, man, I started a big fight. Now you got to come and help me.
Yeah, here's a new one for you. Chances are, if you're a Trump mushroom gobbler, you're probably a Putin mushroom gobbler as well. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Nelson. Nelson is next on PTL. Hello, Nelson.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Nelson. Is this X?
Hi, Leonard. How are you?
Hi, Nelson.
Hi, Nelson. How are you? Hi, Nelson. Let's
Yeah.
just say, hey, I got an idea for
Hey,
the
Brian, how are you?
next, for the next.
Hi, Nelson. How
Hi,
are you?
Numchuck,
Hi,
how are
Nelson.
you?
How are you? How was your day today?
Hi, Leonard.
Nelson.
How are you?
Numchuck, how are
Hi,
you?
Nelson.
Hi, Brian.
I'm sorry, Leonard. I didn't ask you. Leonard, I didn't ask
Go
you.
ahead, Nelson. This is Leonard.
Leonard, how are you?
Go ahead, Brian.
Leonard,
This
are you
is
doing
Leonard.
good today? How are you? Hi, Nelson. How was your day today? What did you eat for breakfast this morning?
Hey, Brian. How are
Nelson,
you?
please ask.
Nelson,
a good
did you brush
question.
your teeth this morning? How was your shower this morning? How are you?
I was
Hey, Nelson, stop wasting our time and go.
What's the chances he has a good question? Go.
All right, Brian, did you shut up? Okay, perfect.
Hey, don't tell us to shut up.
Bottom down.
Nelson.
You're not going to disrespect me, bro. I don't have to take your calls.
He's
You
getting
waste our
brave.
time.
Nelson's getting brave.
You waste our time every day on this show because you have the I guess you could the intelligence level and the brain of an ant. All due respect to ants out there. When you call into the show, stop wasting our time. Hi, how are you?
Yeah,
Hi,
the
how
earth
was
is
your
not
day?
flat, Nelson, just so you know, it's not.
So what would you like to talk about today, Nelson? And don't you ever tell me to shut up again. Why don't you shut up, you clown, you MAGA buffoon, you.
Are you ready? Did
You
shut up?
Andrew.
Yeah,
you,
we're
Andrew,
ready. He asked you a question.
pot him
Go
down
ahead.
again.
Yeah.
Pot him down again.
Ready,
If
go.
you're going to keep being disrespectful to me, I'm going to keep potting you down, man. How many times do you perform verbal fellatio on that scumbag and his scumbag wife, the Wilsons, Andrew Wilson and Rachel Wilson?
Oh, is he an
How many
Andrew
times-
Wilson fan?
How many times do you do that, Nelson, every single day? You clown.
You think he smokes and goes on the computer when he's debating too? Nelson?
All right,
do you
MAGA
smoke,
clown.
Nelson?
MAGA clown. Do you know that your boyfriend Andrew Wilson is defending Donald Trump? Do you know that he's never, criticized Trump for anything, and yet you're a fan of somebody like that? That says a lot about who you are, Nelson. You clown.
Brian, just relax. Just shut up first.
No, I'm not going to shut up.
You know what,
Not
Nelson?
gonna
You're
shut
on a
up.
serious podcast radio show. So why don't you be serious? And if you're not going to be serious, we'll just move on to the next caller. We don't need to clown around with you. We don't need, if you're going to be an ass clown, we don't need to talk to you.
Nelson, do you have a degree? Like, did you even go to college? Do you have a degree?
I think I told you in one of our
Okay.
previous
I
conversations.
don't believe
that
you.
I don't
got
believe
my
him.
bachelor's
I don't believe you.
degree.
I believe
You don't speak like somebody who has a degree.
I believe you're Lauren Boberton. Like somehow you got your GED. I don't know how.
Hi, Brian. This is
All right, Nelson, I'm going to give you 5 seconds. I'm going to give you 5 seconds, and that's almost as much as Stormy Daniels and Donald Trump spent time together. What did you want to actually talk about today of substance? Go ahead, Nelson.
I was simply going to ask Leonard a question. That's it.
All right, well, go ahead.
Well, ask the question, dummy.
Yeah, so I was going to ask him, because I know he served in the police for like 25 plus years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we all know
Correct.
that.
Go
So-
ahead.
yes.
Yeah, in law enforcement. So I want to say thank you for your service, of course.
Ask the question.
Oh, most appreciated,
Have you
Nelson.
encountered more cops that share your political views and are Democratic, or more that are Republican?
No,
Why
he's
is
more,
that-
more
Hold on, I want
Republican
you-
by far.
Okay. I'll let him answer the question. Nelson, is that on topic to anything that we're talking about today, you imbecile? We actually have a lot that we're okay, good. Do you understand what's going on today, Nelson?
Relax.
No, you relax.
If he has a question,
No,
you can email me.
You
about
relax.
Me. You don't need
no,
to do that
Nelson,
on
you
the
relax.
show.
Nelson, do you understand what's going on today? Have you been watching the news at all? I know you're stuck on your boyfriend Andrew Wilson. Do you know what's going on in the news today, sir? Anything? What's going on today?
A little bit, but I'm not too
A little bit.
knowledgeable on it, but I do know
No.
a little bit.
What are you knowledgeable? Okay, so let's go with that. What would you consider yourself knowledgeable about?
I just keep hearing more about the war and the Iran ceasefire, but I
So-
don't know too much about it, though.
So you don't know
He hears stuff-
anything. So
he
hold
hears
on.
stuff, but he doesn't
Hold on
know
a second.
about it.
So you don't know anything about what's going on in the war today? Is that what you just said?
I might have a little bit of an idea.
Okay,
but
so
I'm
what's
just
the
not
idea? Go ahead.
on top of it.
Let's hear the idea, Nelson. Go right ahead. Give us the idea.
I just told you.
Repeat it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Repeat. Go ahead.
Why do I have to repeat it? I know you guys heard me.
No, I didn't actually. I really didn't. What did you say?
Yeah, you did.
I didn't.
Nelson, we didn't hear you because I didn't hear
Nelson,
anything
I'm going to
either.
give you an award because I think you deserve it, and this is quite a prestigious award because there's I think it's a great one if you'll shut up and let me finish.
We haven't chosen one in a while either.
Nelson, we get a lot of people that Nelson, be quiet. We get a lot of people that call into the show every day, but I'm going to give you the award as the dumbest MAGA caller of the month. Have a very nice day, Nelson, and thank you so much for wasting our time.
Well, that-
702-221-7283. And again,
confused.
that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-SAVE.
Hey, Brian. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Hey,
God,
Leonard, how you doing?
Oh, it's so annoying.
Hi,
He's so
Brian.
annoying. Let's
You
get
have a
back.
question?
Oh, it's so freaking annoying. And he asked a question that's so off topic. Let's go to Britain. Britain is next up on PTL. Hello, Britain. What's going on? Hello, Britton. Go right ahead. Britton, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go right ahead, Britton.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Good.
Hey, first time, long time. I was watching the show yesterday, and what do you think about him threatening these attacks, but also using it as like a market manipulation?
Oh, that's
Today,
exactly what it is.
The stock market's up 1,300 points.
Yep.
Yesterday it's down. When do you think that'll end? When he stops
It
doing
won't.
I don't think it will, Britton. I think that's a really good question that you ask, and I know Leonard, has some thoughts on that as well. But I don't think it will. I think a lot of it is market manipulation. I don't think there's any.
They had an economist on MSNBC the other day that explained exactly how it works, and she said that he lets his friends know ahead of time. And remember, this is just speculation. That he's going to say that we're bombing and we're, there's no gas coming out and we don't care. And then all of a sudden the Dow tanks. And the next day he comes back and he says, okay, good news. We won the war. We won. And it goes 1,200, 1,300 points up. Now, does that sound like sounds like market manipulation to me?
Sure.
Especially if people knew ahead of time, which they're saying they do. The news is reporting that people are betting on this and then it's a good way for a lot of people to make a lot of money. Do we have proof of that? No, but it has been speculated.
Somebody in the chat just said I'm pissed off today. I am. I'm very.
Let's go. Me too.
I'm very pissed off today because this country is getting embarrassed and embarrassed and embarrassed by the day
and lied to. We're all being lied to. No one likes to be lied to.
We're all being lied to. Caroline Leavitt lied to us today. We're getting lied to by the Trump administration. Big lies about the Strait of Hormuz and where we're at with this war. And the world is laughing at us, and innocent people are dying in the process, and that's what makes it even worse.
And they're using our money.
Yeah.
They're using our tax money, Britain, the money that you and I pay out of our paychecks, out of our taxes, and we elect people to represent our money and represent the tax funds that we sent in. And this is what they unilaterally decided to do. They didn't go to Congress. They didn't go to the power of the purse. Trump just went there and said, I'm doing it anyway, and told everybody after the fact. That's taxation without representation.
Exactly. And then he's talking about pulling out of NATO, which I just looked up. I don't think he has the power to do that without Congress.
I'm pretty sure it needs congressional approval. I'm pretty sure he can't unilaterally do that.
Both of you are correct. But what would lead anybody to believe that he would go through the proper channels in order to do this? Of course, he's not going to.
Yeah, but how could he stop the funding? How could he stop the 4% of the GDP that America sends to NATO? I mean, he would have to override a congressional. And keep in mind, Congress already approved this money. This is money that's already approved. How do you stop that?
You can't. But I guess what he can do is just take troops out of those areas, stop those kind of things. I think that's what he can do, which I know he would to get his point across. To make us weaker in the global the global arena.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, sir. I appreciate your phone call. Thank you. Appreciate you. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Demetrius. Demetrius is next up on PTO. Hello, Demetrius.
Hey, how you doing, Brian?
Hey, what's up?
Demetrius.
Hey, once again, Brian, keep your foot on their neck. This is exactly what we need. It's people like Nelson that called earlier. I've been calling out all these fake patriots that run their mouth about stuff, don't give a damn about nothing but worshiping at the feet of Donald Trump and the Democrats and the Republicans. And this, like y'all been talking, this been a straight embarrassment. As a former combat soldier, this is one of the lowest points I ever thought about in American history. Right.
Well, thank you for your service, and you're 100% right, Demetrius. This is out of control, and it's embarrassing.
And I've been calling out all the MAGA Republicans, the non-voters, all these fake patriots. I've been calling out. I done fell out with a lot of people behind since these last several months because of this fake ass shit to get us in this dumb ass. They get us. Excuse my language. They get us in dumb situations just for a good laugh and entertainment. Nothing is fun.
Well, you keep up the fight, Demetrius, and let me just tell you that I lost contact with a family member just this week because we got in a debate on the phone, and I didn't start the conversation. But if you start the conversation, I'll give you my opinion. And I said to this person, just name one thing that Donald Trump has accomplished by starting the war in Iran. Just name one. And they kept arguing and arguing, and then we lost communication, haven't heard from them since. And that was just this week.
Yeah, that's what they talk in circles, and they keep regurgitating what they done heard on Fox News, OAN, or any other right wing. I mean, I'm an African American. Even they be regurgitating these. I'm like, y'all, won't y'all go pick up a weapon and stand a post?
Yeah.
And then come. And then
Amen to that,
Yeah,
my
if
friend.
you like him so much, if you agree with him so much, do that.
Amen to that, my friend. Yeah, no, listen, I appreciate your service, and thank you so much for being a part of the PTL family. Let me just take a few steps back real quickly and just kind of review for everybody what has taken place here, not just in the last 24 hours, but literally in the last couple hours, right?
Yeah.
Let me just try to go piece by piece here to catch people up if you're just joining us. So after yesterday, we discussed Donald Trump threatening the really extermination of an entire group of people. MAGA was head over heels about some sort of alleged ceasefire agreement when they didn't even know this Iran 10-point plan that Donald Trump agreed to, which basically gave Iran everything and anything that they wanted. And this is why they were so excited about it. Then Israel breaks the ceasefire. Iran retaliates. We are now back in the war as well, sending missiles out, my understanding, based on reports. And while all this is going on, the United States, when I mean the United States, Donald Trump, his administration, Pam Bondi, Pete Hegseth, are lying to the American people because the Strait of Hormuz is now closed down again. So you can make the argument that when MAGA was doing this, was it even truthful? And a guy who's done this show before, I'm a fan of the Krasenstein brothers. I think they're both very good at what they do. Ed has done this show before. Brian was on the show last week. Ed brings up a very interesting point that I want to share with all of you. And he asked, did Trump announce a fake ceasefire just so he and his family could buy oil at $94 a barrel? And I think that is a very fair
It would
point to make.
seem that way. That's a fair question. That's a terrific question.
Did Donald Trump do this to profit himself? I think it's very, very fair to ask that question. And Donald Trump is such a sick human being. I believe it's quite possible. And an unnamed trader, we are learning, placed a $52 million short on oil right before the peace agreement was announced. This person made $174 million in 3 hours. I wonder who that person could be. This needs to be investigated immediately.
Isn't insider information illegal, according to the SEC? And by the way, CNN just had some breaking news. The White House is announcing that the threat to end the civilization of Iran was not an empty threat. CNN just reported that.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't surprise me either. Let's get back to the phone calls. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Larry. Larry is next up on PTL. Hey, Larry, what's going on? Hi, Larry.
Hi, Leonard and Brian. Thank you so much for your service. I just want to remind people, like Leonard echoed, you can't complain if you don't vote. Of course, I voted for Trump the first time, but I'm not going to be burned again. But I'm open enough to admit what a mistake. I'm on board basically with Christie that they're of this administration is so much. It's just startling. And thanks again so much for pointing out, quote unquote, the truth. I listen to Global News. I listen to CNN. I do listen to Fox, but I'm also bilingual. I listen to Univision and also Tokyo News. So thanks again for getting the word out there that this administration will be in the rearview mirror. And just,
Are you angry about voting for Trump the first time? Are you angry and frustrated? Do you feel like you were conned?
Yeah, because now I realize how much smarter Hillary was when I saw her speaking publicly a few weeks ago. Really a brilliant woman. And I actually
Very
probably
smart.
should have made that choice.
Oh,
Well, I have some more breaking news for all of you. And by the way,
Thank
Larry,
you, Larry.
I do appreciate your call. I have some more breaking news that I would like to share with you. Ed Krasenstein just reported and asked the question, was this a...
I have some more breaking news that I would like to share with
We have a ceasefire, the ceasefire statement that was made by Ed Krasenstein, which I just was reading, which was the question that was asked, which was this a made-up ceasefire agreement altogether? Well, now CNN is reporting that the U.S.-Iran ceasefire deal was never formally a written agreement. Somebody made $174 million. I would imagine there's probably a lot of other people that made money as well. This needs to be investigated immediately. Apparently, there was never a written ceasefire agreement ever put in place to begin with.
They're all Trump's people, the DOJ, the securities, the FBI. Who's going to investigate it? It will get investigated, I'm guessing, one day, but not right now. Not under this leadership.
This obviously needs to be investigated. If there was no formal written agreement and the ceasefire was broken by Israel and Iran, I would like to know in America or anywhere who profited off of oil.
Do you believe that Trump administration didn't even hear from them last night? Didn't even hear from them and said, oh, yeah, we have a 10. Now, I believe they sent a 10-point agreement, which is probably a 10-point demand. But do you think they woke up today and said, all right, everybody tell them we agreed to their agreement?
Well, this is really important news that I'm sharing with all of you that we're learning. Again, we are now learning, according to CNN and other reports, is that there was no written ceasefire agreement. We're also learning that there are some people who made a lot of money in the oil markets, including one individual that is unnamed that made somewhere in the ballpark of $174 million and bought oil literally a few hours before the announcement of a ceasefire was made. I believe now, based on this new information that has come out, that there never was an actual ceasefire in agreement and that this was about money, and the war continues and the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Let's get back.
Iran said, yeah, if you want to agree to our 10-point demand, you know what I'm saying? They were like, yeah, we agree. If you want to cease fire and give us everything we want, sure.
Yeah. I mean, this is sickening. Let's go to Rhonda. Rhonda's next on PTL. What's up, Rhonda?
What's up, Brian? What's up, Leonard?
Hi, Rhonda.
Listen, Brian, I need some encouragement. My anxiety is so high with what is going on. Is there any hope, Brian?
Yes, vote.
I mean, the midterms. I mean, I suppose the midterms right now, this is just a corruption at its worst. I don't think we've ever had a president at this level of corruption.
Like Obama said, don't get upset, vote.
Yeah.
Don't get angry, vote.
Yeah.
Don't get scared and anxious, vote.
I guarantee you that if somebody had made $174 million after before a ceasefire announcement was made and bought all this oil and there was a Democrat president, Republicans would be begging for an immediate investigation. But yet I guarantee you Kash Patel won't even be mentioning this, let alone investigating it.
It's sickening. It's just
try and rely on your faith, Rhonda. This will work out okay. It's going to take some time, and I think the American people are strong enough to push back on this and right the ship eventually.
I love you guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. We love you too. Hang in there, my dear,
Rhonda.
and I appreciate the phone call. 702-221-7283. And again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the case, part of the conversation, 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Ray. Ray is next up on PTL. Hey, Ray, what's up?
Hey, good afternoon, Leonard and Brian. Trump has always been a bum. He always will be. He's a liar. Ever since the debacle back in the 80s with the illegal laborers.
Mm-hmm.
As far as voting, I have voted in every election since the Kennedy-Nixon election. And I'm a retired, almost 70 years. I'm telling my age now. And our labor union, which was pipe fitters, always supported the Democratic Party. You guys keep up the good work.
Thank you.
We love pipe fitters. Even though we were a police union, we were friends with the pipe fitters and the painters and the sheet metal and the grocery. We were friends with everybody. So I'm glad you were union, and I'm a very supportive person of all unions.
Yeah, I appreciate your call, sir. And again, I'm very humbled by so many wonderful people that are part of PTL Nation. You all mean the world to me, and I appreciate you, sir. Thank you. All right, let's go to Coach Mo. Coach Mo calling in. Coach Mo, what's going on, man?
What's up, guys? How you doing, man?
Good.
Hey, so we talked about a year ago, and I know you remember this, and I brought up the point that Viktor Orban visited Trump for about a week in Mar-a-Lago a couple weeks before the election. Remember that?
I do. Yep, I do.
And Viktor Orban turned a democracy into an oligarchy. And I believe Trump was trying to figure out and get pointers of how I can do that here in the United States. And now we have J.D. Vance, the vice president, going to campaign for Viktor Orban.
How's that?
Hungary.
The vice president of the United States is over there campaigning for somebody who's basically a dictator.
Yeah, but now I changed my mind. And Brian, you know me, I don't change my mind very much. But I changed my mind. I think Trump's idea of, creating chaos and not having an election and staying president for longer, I think he threw that out the window. And after what happened with the ceasefire and the guy making millions, and their family's making billions, I think Trump threw that out the window and said, you know what? I'm going to spend the next 4 years trying to make me and my family and my friends as much money as possible. I think that's his new game plan.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's always been a factor. And sometimes, you know what, Coach? Sometimes I'm amazed at how much motivation they have to increase more wealth, to have billions on top of billions on top of billions, and they're still willing to do anything it takes to make even more billions. And I just don't understand that kind of drive. And watching people lose their lives and get off Medicare and get off Medicaid, and have no health coverage and not feeding hungry children, just so it's the age-old concept of the rich blaming the poor for not being rich enough.
And also, I'm in the sports world and been for a long time, not the hundreds of millions they're making now, but I used to always wonder why a player would turn down a really nice contract and be happy where he's at, or even a coach, for more money. How much money do you need to be happy?
Well, they have more than you could spend in a lifetime.
In your kids' lifetimes, in your grandkids. It's mind-boggling to me, but I just wanted to bring that up. I was on the Viktor Orban train a year ago, and I could see it happening right before our eyes, but now I think he said, you know what, I'm tired of this crap. I'm probably not healthy enough to last any more years, so I'm going to leave office, but I'm going to make as many billions for me and my family as I can.
Absolutely.
And it appears as though that's what's going on, Coach Mo, and that's that this is the state of affairs that we are in today. But hey,
thanks for the call, Coach.
Everything's good though, right? Because the Strait of Hormuz is open, right? Everything's
open,
right
everything's
there.
flowing, and we won.
Yeah, the ceasefire agreement, the alleged ceasefire agreement. It's not even really a ceasefire agreement because now we're learning it was never in writing. So
they're saying Iran gave in, but we're agreeing to their agreement.
It's so ridiculous.
That's like a fireman starting a fire and then putting it out and say, look at me, I'm a hero.
Yeah, and I want a medal, and I want to be recognized as a hero, and running down the hill and telling everybody he saved
By the
us.
way, who made the $174 million investment? I think it was Barron Trump. I would say Barron Trump. Hold on, let's put this in perspective. Number one, I would put Barron Trump in there. Number two, maybe Don Jr. Number three, maybe he gave a tip to Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. Number four, maybe Eric Trump. I don't know if he's smart enough. Not to say that Barron is the brightest bulb in the world either. Those are kind of like my favorites.
$174 million in 3 hours.
It wasn't a Democrat, I will tell you that.
Yeah, and you just make up some, if you're smart enough, you make up some companies and make it happen, third or fourth party. And then when it's all said and done, you just take that money to the Swiss account or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I agree. Mo, yeah.
Well, I have a question too. Where is all the oil we got from Venezuela we just stole from?
They brought it to Texas, I believe, Houston, Texas, and there's 100 million barrels, and it's being refined, according to Trump. Now, he lies about everything, but it should be in Texas being refined even as we speak.
Yeah, he gave it all to Yao Ming. That's what happened.
Yeah, where's the guitar plane, the $200 million plant? Where's that at? Where's
400 million. Yeah,
400 million what?
Where's that parked at?
I don't know.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Maybe Melania is taking joyrides with it everywhere around the world. I don't know. With her, on her book tour. I don't know.
She's getting.
It is the best movie ever.
What's her name's Jet, right?
Oh, here's a name.
What's her name's Jet?
Okay, here's a name that I forgot. Jared Kushner. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a part of this 174 million as well. Yep. You never know. Thanks, Mo. Thanks for the call, bud.
Thanks,
appreciate
Coach.
it. 702-221-7283. Before we get to the phone calls, let's do some YouTube super chats. I want to do some YouTube super chats, and Leonard is so good at.
I'm bringing him in. I'm so good at reading
Leonard's so
one
good
or two
at,
sentences in a row.
Leonard's so good with his voiceover work and keeping us up to speed, Leonard. So go ahead. I will leave the floor to yours, as I think Gnome Chuck is putting some of those up right now as we speak. YouTube super chat. By the way, you can also go to my website, which is pushingthelimits.live, if you want to support independent media. Go ahead, Leonard.
Electric Dad 78 says, Brian, what happened to your podcast with Froggy?
I don't know what that means. Who's Froggy?
I don't either. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, let's. You're gonna have to make another donation.
Make another donation, Electric Dad, and let us know who
be a
Frog
little bit
is.
more specific. Go ahead.
Shelly, who's one of our favorites, who's a regular, says Bibi needs to fight his own war, and Trump isn't a negotiator. I would agree with 100%.
Yeah.
Trump thinks that war will help midterms. Good luck with that. I'm with you, Brian. I don't think he thinks this is improving midterms.
No.
I think he's has a totally different plan.
Yeah, completely.
Cubs 192 says Trump is a war criminal and a traitor to the United States of America and should be given the same treatment as the Rosenbergs were given. And if you don't know what we're talking about, the Rosenbergs, and the history is they did the congressional inquiries of everyone, of the entire staff from top to bottom.
By the
and
way,
a lot of them were indicted.
By the way, is there a chance that Melania Trump might have been involved in this $174 million?
No, because she wouldn't have the original money
How
to
about Matt
invest.
Gates? How about Matt Gates? No.
I heard that her movie lost money. And
It lost tons of money.
They're saying it made
You know what
money,
I think
but it
happened?
actually
Maybe
lost
Jeff
money.
Bezos lost like $100 million with this movie, and then Donald Trump threw him a bone, and maybe he made it 174.
All right. I'll tell you when
Maybe. Is that a
then the oil's
conspiracy
gonna
theory?
flow.
Or is it Alex Jones? I don't know. I know he's still
another one?
Still selling his pills, by the way, Alex Jones. Was it Caroline Levitt? Maybe it was Caroline Levitt's crypt keeper husband. What is he, 118 years old? I don't know. Go ahead. Maybe it was for.
I don't know. In those AI photos, he looks pretty young.
Maybe it was for Corey Lewandowski and his girlfriend there. Maybe some more liposuction, and
they're in a lot of trouble.
Plastic surgery. Yeah, they are. What's the next one? Go ahead. Leonard.
Laura Villalobos, who's one of our favorites, one of our regulars. Thanks, Trump, for making our country weaker. Firing FBI agents who run the cyber department, who keep an eye on the Iranian countries, are laughing at us, and that's true. He did. The ones that investigate the cyber attacks from all those nations went from 25 to I think 2 or 3 people, which is not enough to keep an eye on the world.
Oh, okay, so let me go back to Electric Dad real quick. So he's asked me about the podcast yesterday. So I have some good news for you, Electric Dad. There were not technical issues on my end; it was on their end, but we got it done. And the 4-hour debate is on my YouTube page right now with Noodles. It's actually up there right now, and I have $1,000 bet with him because he's running for Congress in California. I said he had no chance to win. He agreed to a $1,000 bet, which is like
You're going to win
candy
that bet.
from a baby. So that debate is up on my YouTube page right now. I'm going to put it on my other platforms later. At PTL Radio Show, the entire debate unedited is up there, and I apologize that I wasn't able to go live on my own platform with that debate, but it's up on my YouTube page right now. Also, later today, I'm a busy man. I need another vacation, Leonard. I always need a vacation.
You didn't even really take a vacation.
I really didn't.
You spend a lot of the time working.
Yeah, that's true. I do. I did. You're right about that. But I will be doing the Roland Martin show today, starting at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
I would love to hear what. Not to interrupt you. I would love to hear what he has to say about this.
Yeah,
I really would.
I would imagine.
I can't wait.
We're definitely going to be talking about it. So that will be from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will be on the Roland Martin show later today. Let's go to Pluto. Pluto's next on PTL. What's up, Pluto?
Hello. Your words have changed my opinions.
There you go.
How so?
I disagree with Trump right now.
How so? Disagree with him on what?
I don't like how he's going to be saying that, like, he's going to wipe out an entire civilization if they don't open up the strait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's absolutely terrible.
Is that what America's supposed to be about? Is that really what we've been fighting for 250 years?
Not. Of course
Is that
not.
really what Americans want?
So
Is
Pluto,
that we want to be commit genocide?
So Pluto, let me just go back to what Pluto said real quickly. So Pluto, when Donald Trump said he won the 2020 election, you're totally okay with that? Just now? You weren't okay. Okay, so it wasn't me.
He said you changed him. Your words.
Okay, so how did I change you then? Because did you agree with Trump? You didn't agree with Trump when he said he won the 2020 election,
I don't
right?
agree with Trump, but I agree with everything you say.
You don't agree with Trump and you agree with, so how did I change you then? You said you changed. How did I change you?
You've given me like insights on things I never saw.
Okay, so do you believe that? So you believe Trump's wrong on the economy? You think he's wrong on ICE agents? You think he's wrong on the border? You think he's wrong on immigration? Have we really changed your mind and you've seen the light?
I think you're giving this caller. Yeah, I think you're giving this caller a little bit too much respect. I think he's just pranking us. But Pluto,
Really?
that's okay. How old are you?
I'm not. I'm
okay,
being for real.
got you. So Pluto, how old are you? Where do you go to school? How old are you? When were you born? When were you born, Pluto? What year were you born? Give me your birthday.
November 4th.
Yeah.
November 4th.
Yeah.
2006.
Okay. So
Scorpio,
how old?
just like me.
Got you. So you're 19 years old. Who did you vote for?
I didn't vote for anyone.
You didn't vote for anyone. So why is that? Why didn't you vote for anyone?
Because I just didn't really want to. I feel like I'd be hated for whichever side.
Well, now that he's changed his mind, does that mean you're going to vote Democrat in the next? What about in the midterms? You're going to vote Democrat down the ticket?
Yes.
There you go, Brian. You did it.
Don't
you
believe
did
him.
it.
Don't believe him.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
He said it. He said it live on the air.
I don't believe him.
And you did it.
Hey,
Congratulations.
Pluto, have you ever heard of the movie The 19-Year-Old Virgin?
Yes. And
Yeah, that's you. That's you. You started it. Have a nice day, you clown. I never believed that call from the beginning. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if
Makes
you want
a
to be
good
a part
clip,
of the
though.
conversation. Let's go to Bruce. Bruce is next up on PTL. What's up, Bruce?
I have three really important points. First of all, when the U.S. says that only a small fraction of our oil comes through the Strait of Hormuz, that's very disingenuous because it's a fungible product. It's interchangeable. When you cut off 20% of the world's supply of crude, that puts a huge pressure on where we buy oil, where everybody else buys oil, and the price.
Well, that's the whole point of
And,
reopening it. And the problem that we've been having is because it shows it's affecting the entire world economy. It has nothing to do with 20% or the oil that comes through. It's ruining the economy of the entire world.
Sending it into shock, pricing it.
So now that we've learned that the Strait of Hormuz is now shut down again, I would imagine gas prices are going to go way back up tomorrow.
It's not only that, but half of crude is used to make pharmaceuticals, fertilizers, plastics, stuff we all need for our daily life that has nothing to do with automobiles or fuel.
Right. They're just spinning it. It's not actually what they're saying is not accurate. They're actually just spinning it to make it seem like it's okay.
Well, maybe both.
But,
maybe both.
What killed me, though, is that conference was fake cast. You have people openly laughing at him in the press corps.
Yeah, that's true.
When they're talking about uranium. That
That's true.
reporter chuckled loudly 3 times.
That's very
And then
true.
Pete Hegseth said he's going to go get it. He said, we'll get it by any means. You think we can just go in there? You think we're in the position? You know, it took thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of military to go into Iraq, and they prepared for 6 months. And so do you think Pete Hegseth is wrong when he said, well, if they won't give us the uranium, we'll just go there and dig it up ourselves? You believe that?
You're right. The second thing is this is possibly one of the most dangerous times because now Trump and his maggots have to double down to save face.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that is what makes this even more dangerous as this continues to move on. I appreciate your call, sir. Thank you very much. 702.
Nice to talk to you guys.
Thank you. Nice to talk to you too. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Bruce. Bruce is next up on PTL. That was Bruce. Okay, let's go to Mark. Mark is next up on PTL. Hey, Mark, what's going on?
Hey, Brian.
Hey, what's up?
I just got you on speakerphone. Hey, I just heard, just want to bring a more positive note today, but I noticed that Leonard saying that he was from New Jersey, and just want to bring a more positive note saying I'm going to go see Bruce Springsteen tomorrow with
The Boss.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, he's making songs that are against what Trump is doing.
Yeah, but according to Donald Trump, he has no talent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
he's
I was going to say was that
He's
it was
just one of
funny,
the
obviously,
best
with all the
singers in the
madness,
history of
you
the
know,
world. Yeah, whatever.
It all gets blown over, but yeah, what this past weekend too, he was also ragging on about no talent and this and that, but obviously he does crazy things by the day, so everybody forgets.
You going to the amphitheater on the Garden State Parkway there?
No, we're going to see it over at SoFi Stadium.
Okay.
Do us a favor. When is the show? Tomorrow, you said, sir?
Yeah, tomorrow.
So do me a favor. Call me up. Today's Wednesday. Call us up on Friday. Tell us how the show was and what he said about Trump, because I'm sure he'll be saying something.
Yeah, and get it on your camera
Yeah.
phone if you can.
Yeah, and give us a call. Give us a call Friday and let us know. All
My
right.
mother's a longtime fan, so yeah, I get to go and see it with her and everything. So
That's
I'll
super
let
cool.
You guys know.
That's super cool. Hey, thanks for calling in. Enjoy the show, my friend. The Boss is one of the best
Thanks,
of all
Mark.
time, and
You
I.
guys have a good one.
All right, you too, my friend. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Gareth. Gareth is next up on PTL. Hello, Gareth.
217-281-7283.
Gareth, you're gonna have to
How are
low.
you?
Hi, Gareth. What's going on?
I'm just sat here in Wales in the UK, being ex-British forces, and I'm astounded.
Yeah.
Which
I
part
can't
is the
believe
most
what is
astounding?
You know, we're not just on about petroleum. We're not on about liquid gas. We're on about fertilizers. You know, 20% of the world's fertilizers come from that region. What are the American farmers going to do? What are they going to, you know, we're going to have a food crisis going down the line if this is not stopped soon. And being ex-British forces, I would have resigned rather than go and fight for Trump. Would have resigned my commission. What I don't understand is why the Constitution of America isn't taking this guy down. That's what I don't understand. I wonder if you could please explain it to me.
The Republicans don't care.
In the simplest terms, we have a lot of very stupid people in this country, a lot of corrupt people in this country. And unfortunately, sir, you know, I really don't know what else to tell you other than there's a lot
70 or 80% of the Republicans still support him.
Yeah, a lot
so
of
when you
people-
have Congress and the Senate and you have all the Republicans and the greater majority still support him, what are you supposed to do next? What's next?
I had a 4.5-hour debate with somebody who thinks that Kamala would have been a worse president. And I say
There's
to
no
myself, what could be worse than what is going on right now? Getting embarrassed on the world stage in an ill-advised war, possible insider trading going on, market manipulation. The economy is in shambles. Somebody made a lot of money yesterday. I'd love to know who that was. Let's go to Dave. Dave is next up on PTL. Hey, Dave, what's going on, man?
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Hey,
Thanks
what's
for
up?
taking my call.
Sure.
Hey, you know something? Thanks for this has gotten out of hand, and it can't get any worse than that it is now. So I don't know what this guy's going to do. I think he's a piece of crap. He's always will be a piece of crap to the day he gets out of office and stuff. But you know something? I'm going to tell you right now. It's as much as I see this, and these people that are not calling you, like you said, I totally agree with what you said. I think it was 2 days ago, that if these people vote for Democrat and they go back to voting Republican again, don't call the show. Please don't call the show. Don't be a hypocrite. If you're gonna go hardcore Democrat, then stay Democrat, because I don't want you to go back to Republican and have to go to another war, not after Bush, Trump, and who knows who'll be the next one that you put into office, who'll be the next Republican who can take us to war again for the third time.
Yeah,
Here's some more breaking news.
Republicans, they're all for the rich, and they disgust me.
And here's some more breaking news for all of us, and it's not good news. Lebanon's health ministry is now officially saying that the Israel strike earlier today has killed 182 people. That would be the highest single-day death toll in the Israel-Hezbollah war. But, you know, Donald Trump just said 10 months ago there's peace in the Middle East. So would this strike have happened if Benjamin Netanyahu was not in power, if Donald Trump was not in power? I'm not so sure about that.
Some people are saying with Bibi Netanyahu that he's willing to sacrifice his own people. Because let's face it, Tel Aviv is getting pummeled. And he's willing to sacrifice his own people, number one, to try to take more land in Lebanon. And number two, as long as they're at war, he's going to stay in power. Because as soon as the wartime's over, they're going to have a vote. And I believe he's going to be out.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Is there any way that he can get out of office in Israel? Can they vote?
There was a vote coming up. There was one coming up just a month or two ago. They were getting ready to vote, and then they started another war. As long as they're at war, Netanyahu is going to stay in power. And my question is, would you allow your own people to die so that you could stay in power?
I'll tell you one thing. This guy is not worth going to war or putting my life on the line to be in the military. I would go to Canada any day just to get out of this war, because this is totally a disgrace.
I have no problem with Israel people. I get along with many of them. I have friends who are Jews or from Israel. But you know what? Netanyahu, he's a bad guy. He's not good for the U.S. or Israel, in my opinion.
Thanks, Brian.
All right.
Thanks, Leonard, for
Thanks,
the show.
Dave.
Thank you. Program.
Thank you.
Bye.
702-221-7283. Of course, we got to go to the MAGA destroyer, right? Darlene, what's going on, man? Thanks for calling in.
Brian and Leonard, love you guys, and Chuck. Okay, I'm going to solve this problem right now. MAGAs, I want you to listen to us from PTL. Put your money where your mouth is. I want to start taking bets about what you guys believe, and this Just put your money where your mouth is. And one more thing, guys, I want y'all's opinion real quick.
Bring it on.
Listen, MAGAs, Donald Trump sat there on Easter Day with them little teeny kids. What do you think he was telling them on Easter Day? He was telling them about the auto pen.
Yep.
I kid you not.
He was
talking about how bad Kamala was at Easter to these little kids. And another thing is, Trump said he killed Obama. What's his name? Obama bin Laden?
Osama.
Well, he said he wrote in his book that he claimed that he told Obama in his book to kill Osama bin Laden. And I can tell you right now, factually, that never happened. It's not in any of his books.
I'm telling you. So guys, bet Leonard and Brian. I'm poor, but hey, I got a few things I can let you have, but you wouldn't win because you're gonna lose. You guys bet. Put your money where your mouth is. That's all I say, because I know damn well y'all won't do it. So,
Darlene,
anyway, guys, I love you.
Love you
Thanks
too.
for letting me
Love you
talk.
too,
Thanks,
Darlene.
Darlene. Love you too. All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Everybody loves you.
Bye-bye, Darlene. Yep. So we are covering the breaking news. We're just going to go through it one more time here. I'm probably going to have to cut the show a little bit early today because I have to do another show in an hour and I got to go home to do it, which is the Roland Martin show. But Leonard, obviously a lot has transpired here since we started this show. As far as I know, the White House is still saying that the Strait of Hormuz is open. It's not. It's closed.
A lot of great interaction today, too.
I would also say that we're learning about this 10-point plan. And in this 10-point plan, we're learning it was Iran's 10-point plan. This is why they were so excited about it and declaring victory. Meanwhile, Donald Trump was lying. We're also learning that there was no written ceasefire agreement put in place. We also are learning that somebody made $174 million and bought up a lot of oil before that announcement was made. So there's a lot of new information that we are looking at right
Brian,
now.
Who says we won? We're agreeing to their terms. Who says that? What kind of person would say that? Yes, we won. We're victorious. We kicked their butt.
Yep.
So we're going to agree to their terms.
And
that
by
makes
the
no
way,
sense.
The Republicans who always seem to want to attack Barack Obama, the deal that Barack Obama made with Iran, this is important to note this. There were 0 Americans that were killed, 0 people in Iran that were killed. There were 0 bombs that were dropped. $0 was spent on the war, and they called that an entire family. The Iran ceasefire by Trump, allegedly, we've had 15 American soldiers that have killed, 700 that have been injured, 1,900 Iranian civilians have been killed, 26,000 plus have been injured. We've spent $45 billion in taxpayer money on this wasted war. 18 countries have been bombed or involved in the war, and they are saying in MAGA world that this is a total win. These people are not.
Schoolgirls got killed.
These people are not correct. These people are not serious people. So when you see any of these MAGA clowns on social media calling this a victory, they're just some of the worst people that America have to offer. I really don't know what else
The
to say.
JCPOA was an outstanding agreement that Obama signed with Iran.
Yeah.
And they were down to 3.5% in the uranium and allowing weekly inspections and surprise inspections by the international community. It doesn't get any better than that.
Agree. Leonard, it always seems like all the news is breaking when you're here on the most chaotic days.
That was good. It came out. I was just pouring out.
For whatever reason for that. Every time you're here, it seems like we have the craziest of all shows. But of course, I do appreciate you being here, Leonard, and on what is another crazy day. For those of you that want more of Brian Shapiro, I'm going to try to go live on my platform as well today. Hopefully there won't be any technical issues like there were last night. But if you want to see my actual debate with Mr. Noodles himself, who's actually running for
Mr. Noodle.
Congress in California, even some of his supporters and some MAGA Republicans were saying that he did a very horrible job in this debate. It got very heated at times. It's up on my YouTube page.
He's not going to challenge you to a fight, is he?
No, at PTL Radio Show. It's up on my YouTube page. Andrew Wilson was, by the way, in the chat yesterday when I was debating this guy. The guy's like such an obsession. At PTL Radio Show on my YouTube page, you can go back and you could watch that debate, which was something like 4 hours. And now I'm doing another show after this show. I'll try to go on YouTube Live to do this show as well. Hopefully there won't be any technical issues. Roland Martin show. I'm going to be on his show in about an hour. Leonard, Again, thank you so much for
That was
being
great.
here.
It was fun. Thanks
Always
for having me.
appreciate it, Leonard. Good to have you on such a busy day. I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you all, everyone out there for listening. We'll be back at it tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks.